Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. What's up, Mayak? How you doing? Alright, let's turn that down a little bit. Hang on a second. Let's just try and sort this music out a second. And sort that out. Okay, awesome. Okay, apologies if you can hear any sort of background rumble. Mrs. Crate was adamant that the tumble dryer had to go on, so gotta do what you gotta do, stay alive. So here we are. So I was doodling before I came on with this sort of idea here. I want to draw something that's a little bit isolated, something that doesn't have any background to it, something that doesn't have anything else going on. It's just kind of a singularity on the canvas. So that's what I'm going to roll with today. I've also been super obsessed as well with creating multiple variations of the snow gun brush. I love the snow gun brush, and I created one that has a much like a leafy aesthetic to it. So I've created a second variation of it. So let me get started and we'll crack on with this. But this was like a good first iteration. I'm sorry, I've realised how hairy I am. I shouldn't have been playing with the dogs before I came on. But yeah, I realised that there's lots of potential with that brush. So here we are. What's up, Milo? How are you doing? A little bit of an earlier stream today, so I don't know if anyone was even going to turn up, so that's good to see. Okay, let's leave this image in here because that's one that I was working on, and I'm going to just start it from the beginning, really. Early bird indeed. I'll be off potentially. Troy, straight in with the 10 gifted memberships. Troy, you're a hero, my friend. Thank you so much. If you are here and you are gifted a membership by Troy, please be sure to thank him in the chat. That is immediate. Hello, I'm not here just for the record. Okay, roger that. Guys, if you get a membership from Troy, you get a beautiful little badge beside your name, and you are a member of the channel. Troy, I always appreciate your support, my friend. Are you busy at work, are you? He said, what did he say? Where are you? There you are. Hello, I'm not here just for the record. Are you working here? What's up, Lauren? Troy, you are a hero, my friend. A hero. All right, let's get started then with a little something in the center. I'm gonna just bring that in at like very low percentage. I want to redraw it, but just so that I can just gauge it a little bit with the positioning, because I liked the positioning of a few things. So I'm going to get started with some of the rocks that I drew at the front and get started from there. So this week I ended up drawing arguably, it's very easy to say this all the time, but probably one of my favourite ever tutorials. Like, as in, it's just nice when you can kind of see that progression in your work and stuff. So I think that's why it's really easy at times to maybe make that decision that, oh yeah, this is my best work. But yeah, I recorded it. When did I record it? Maybe Monday? Or yesterday? It was yesterday. And yeah, definitely one of my favourites to date for sure. But I don't know when it's going to come out, because my Patreon at the minute, I am absolutely stacked up to the brim with tutorials, as in I'm slowly trying to make myself ready for my time off in August, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you need to try and continue to draw more and more and more, it is actually something I have to consider. So I'm trying to really get ahead of myself a little bit in terms of the content, so having a lot in the bag is awesome. What's up, Robs? How you doing? Sorry, I'm sure you have said it, but is there a new time slot or just for today? Just for today. I just needed to get on a little bit earlier so I can get off a little bit earlier. Also, to be honest, we'll see how it goes, because, you know, maybe it's something we continue. I don't know. We'll see. Today, anyway, that's just what is necessary. But, yeah, sometimes I get off and, like, I'm a little bit tired. So, I don't know. It sounds like a real, small issue, to be honest. But, yeah. It would be nice to maybe finish a little bit earlier, because I say this to my friends all the time. Like, when I finish a stream, I will probably sometimes sit right here and just be on my phone for the next half an hour to an hour, because you're trying to unwind a little bit just before you hit the hay. So yeah, that's a common thing. Awesome. They're a little bit curved than I thought they were. That's fine. Let's maybe drag that one, and that one like down a little bit. That's fine, and then we'll create another new layer in behind. I'm gonna just put it in grey for a minute. It's good to see everyone though. Hey, we hit 50 likes last week, guys. Can we hit 50 likes again? I think we're at, what are we at so far? I'm seeing 2 likes, but at least 13 of you in the chat. Come on, yo. Yep, Troy says, if anyone asks, I'm not here. Fair enough, fair enough. What's up, and Al? How you doing? And Alixi? How you doing? Paul, you're absolutely right. See, I'm usually in bed now, like 9:30. Fall asleep by 10. I mean, you guys keep me up, working till the early hours. Rob says it suits me, but I knew it would. I thought if you turn up today, I knew it would be better for your schedule, because you're ahead of us, aren't you? Or ahead of me anyway, in the UK. Lauren says, not drawn anything since my polar bear last week. Need to actually start one of your Patreon tutorials. Absolutely. You're slacking. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Right, create a new layer in front of that, and we'll get started with drawing in a tree and crack on. In case anyone's just joined, I'll show you what we're about to do today. This is what I was just sort of doodling with at the beginning, before I came on. I was just mentioning right at the very beginning that I'm sort of really in love at the minute with the snow gun, but making variations of it, and you'll see it in a couple of new tutorials that comes up, some new variations on it. And I've made this one where you might be able to see, if I zoom right in, it's a bit of a leaf design. It's actually, I took a photo while I was out with the dogs earlier, and I was like, that would actually make a really good shape for a brush. So this is what I'm going to aim for today. And again, I want to, as I said at the beginning, I want to draw something that's maybe a little bit isolated. It's just a singular thing on the canvas. That's it. And I like this idea because it also, we understand that there's water there, but we don't know where it starts and we don't know where it ends. And I quite like that. It's just like I don't know, it's just got some sort of vibe to it. I really like it, so that's what we're going to roll with. So that's what I'm going to try and replicate, but that was not like a finished-ish concept. So we will roll with creating a variation of that. And I think I need a solid brush that I can use line work with. So let's go into maybe inking, and let's use the studio pen. I don't know how much streamline it's got on it. Not a lot. That's fine. And I'm going to lower down the ground for a minute. So yeah, we're just on a little bit earlier, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe it's something I'll do in the future. I've always said that, you know, one day maybe I'll do like a really late stream, so that like people in America, for example, can like tune in their evening time and stuff, and yeah, just do something along those lines. It would be awful. It'd be awful for me, I mean, but yeah, something I could maybe do in the future, or vice versa. You know, maybe I can do something where it's a little bit earlier, and it works out nicely for people to the east, I guess, of me. Yes, see if we can get a like to it. We've got 9 so far. We hit 50 last week, so can we hit 50 likes again? That would be awesome. Whoa. Yeah, so really good week this week in terms of doing my own work for, tutorials and stuff. I initially drew it, and this is something that I always have to battle with. Sometimes I finish a design and I speak to Mrs. Create about it as well, and I'll be like, listen, I love this design. It took me 2 hours plus to record. It took me, the tutorial is probably going to be around, around about, I think it'll probably work out about 1 hour and 40. Where does this end up? And it's always a sort of battle and a conversation of like, should this go on Patreon and should it go on to YouTube? Because realistically, you get a little bit of sort of more financial return, of course, if it, like, for your efforts, if it goes on to Patreon. But not just that, it's just a matter of also working out, I like to prioritize my bigger projects and stuff like that to Patreon, of course, because I kind of like it as a bit of a stepping stone. People will see the tutorials at the beginning of my videos and then go, well, you know what, I think I'm ready for that kind of level now. Let's step up and do some of his Patreon ones, sort of thing. So that's always my kind of mindset with it. That tree looks awesome so far. So yeah, always having a debate on where it should ultimately end up going. So yeah, it's always a tricky one. Always a tricky one, because I want to at the same time put obviously really good content out there, and it's always a battle of like, do I add really, really good content to YouTube, therefore we grow the channel, therefore potentially the return is that more people ultimately join the Patreon because you've got more eyes out there. So it's this constant battle of like, what do we do, where should this be released? Rob says, I don't think everyone knows you are on earlier today. It's all good. We've got 16 of you in here though, and we can get the likes up. If you drop a like down below, I'd greatly appreciate it. Last week we managed to get to 50 likes, and it's something I want to try every single week to see if we can better ourselves, see if we can increase the amount each and every week. So, and I know you can do it. So if you pass by, drop a like. If you're hanging out, drop a like. If you think I got a terrible haircut, drop a like. If you prefer Flo's tutorials over mine, drop a like. If James Jr. is better than me at making landscape designs, drop a like. Any reason you can give to drop a like, do it. If you can't stand my tutorials, drop a like. MMNL says, I'm in NYC and enjoying my lunch with you. Oh, that's awesome. How's your day? So I mean, for a lot of people in the States, which is a huge percentage of my audience here on YouTube, it makes perfect sense for me to have a really late stream. But maybe one day, if this is like full time, I would do it 100%. Where my time is my own and I could recoup the next day and just do nothing. But while I've got a full-time job, I can't really mentally allow that to happen, otherwise I would be in pieces. Drawing trees, by the way, such hard work sometimes, trying to just make sure all your branches are weighted the same. And this is so pointless as well, because I'm barely going to see it because of all the leaves that we're going to add on top. But it's just a measure that I always like to do, just in case there's a gap in the trees, you can see the branch in behind. And it's good practice, And also, the reason I want to also implement this variation of the snow gum that I've done is that I'm getting personally a little bit sort of bored of doing the trees that I'm already doing. So I want to try, because I do them a lot, you know, the typical, I guess they're like pine trees. Part of my job really at the minute is also trying to, you know, learn about, you know, different species of nature, which is such a weird thing to try and think that I would have to try and do, but I do. You know, I've got to try and work out different species of like trees and stuff and colours and all that sort of stuff to work out what I can drop into a design. I'm not going to be one of these people that replicates, you know, nature perfectly. You know, if I draw a tree and it's got a different colour palette to it, just because that's the vibe that I wanted to head for, I'm going to do that, you know. But it's good to have like this sort of mental setup so that you can, you know, think, oh, you know what, I could chuck a pine tree in there, or I could chuck an oak tree or something like that. So it's part of my current learning for all of this. And I think it's nice because if I do something a little bit different from time to time, it, you know, doing one thing differently can really help, you know, boost your creative skill set. You know, if you're doing something different all the time, you're not getting stale and increasing your creativity and capability. And that's a really cool tree. I really like that. Rob says, what's up, MC, as well? Good to see you. Rob says, you know, here in South Africa, we have rolling blackouts sometimes, 4 hours. Not going to get into the politics of that, but I'm often sitting here in the dark, and you certainly brighten things for me. Robs, that's awesome. As in that I can, of course, you know, give you some entertainment to watch while there are the rolling blackouts. Isn't it per part of the country that they rotate it? Is that right? So do you have this? It's actually a fascinating thing for me in terms of just trying to understand why they do it and stuff. Is it a set time? So like in your area, you won't have the electric from, you know, hour 10 to hour 12, you know, to put it basically, I guess. Or does it vary and stuff? Like, are you on a rotation? So is it like, you know? Oh, okay. Basically, yes. Okay. So we used the studio pen for that. So I'm going to take a screenshot because that's what I always do to remember what I've done. Let's go into organic and let's try the bamboo brush. I think it was that I was messing with. Oh, this is lovely. Love that. Get some really nice grooves in here. Bamboo brush. I get the brush in the frame and then I get the item on the left and I take a screenshot. It's just always the way I do it so that I know exactly what it is I've done at each stage. So my like gallery is just completely full. Rob says, yes, it's a set time, depends on stage, but basically, yes, fair enough. Fair enough. Guys, we're at 17 likes already. We've been live for 20 minutes. Awesome. Thank you so much. This bamboo brush is awesome. It's got like, it's barely catching on the canvas. It's literally just, I don't know, just barely, it's just like scraping across the canvas. So it's barely touching some of the branches, which is cool. Giving me like texture without having to, you know, spend too much time creating like groove after groove here. I will probably end up doing that anyway, but you know, see all these like lines up and down the screen here. Can you see that okay, or is it really dark, or is it my screen that's really dark? That's fine. Can you see that? Or is it this light that's making me not able to see? Maybe you guys can see it. Is that better? it's ever so slightly blurry. It shouldn't be. I can see it on the monitor up there that it's not. So I've got two monitors. One is for you guys and one that's above. So, because if I move my hand anywhere, it's out of focus. But if I move it just over the sort of edge over here, bang, it will just change focus. So it's always focused on whatever's in this sort of area here. So it should focus in that area. So it should be good. Should be good. And the brush size is 13%, so we'll take a screenshot of that as well, just so we don't forget all of our work. There is going to be a light source up and down one side, so I'm going to let this one come in from the side here. With a tree sometimes it's really obvious, like here I can push that branch back by letting this line come in front, and then I can do the same over here as well. I can let the darkness come in front of that branch, but here I can follow the branch, and then it really looks like it twists out at that point. So at this point I'm just trying to create like lots of streaks and scrapes and scuffs in the main trunk area here. And to be honest with you, this is somewhat wasted other than down here, where a lot of this is going to be hidden by leaves. But it's just those extra measures we have to take just in case it's visible on the screen. But this brush is cool. Always love finding like a new brush, especially a built-in one, and think, okay, what's a purpose for that? Also, that's another thing that I constantly try to do, is use the built-in brushes and not try and find a purposeful solution elsewhere, and just see, you know, each time, okay, how could this one now be utilized? In what examples and use cases will this be, you know, fun to use in, you know, certain parts of designs? What's up, Tris? This is looking great. I'm brand new to art, especially on my iPad. I'm really loving your channel and tutorials. Thanks for doing them. Looking forward to more. Tris, it's awesome to have you here with the community. We do these live streams every Wednesday, my friends. So if you want to just come and hang out with me in a little bit more of a casual fashion than our tutorials, you're welcome to come hang out with the community. And if you want to join, like Milo's just sent a link to, you can join the community over on Discord, guys. If you're not part of my Discord, please come and join. It's completely free, and you can come and hang out with me, and I'm in there all day every day. So if you've got any questions, want to share your designs with the rest of the community, we've got wonderful people over there. So if you want to just hang out with like-minded people, then you can come and hang out in the Discord and enjoy yourself with other members of my community. We've got a great community. It's great to always see people's, you know, nice positive feedback only where necessary. I have a strict rule in place that you should only criticize someone's work if they ask for it. If someone doesn't ask for criticism, you should never tell someone or give someone feedback unless they ask for it. They could be so proud of their work, and then you could just sort of, you know, really, you know, taint their energy levels and passion for it by just saying, well, you could have done this and you could have done that. Listen, you can spend an hour on a design, or you could spend 16 hours on a design. There's always potentially more that you could do, always more. So I feel that all the time. I'm like, oh, I could spend even longer on this, but I can't. I would genuinely, if I didn't have to edit it, I would genuinely love to do like a tutorial that was like 8 hours long, just one hell of an awesome piece, but I have to cap it, you know. Lauren says, this is my favourite thing about your tutorials is the built-in brushes. I used to be the other way around though. I used to always try to find a solution or constantly see what else I could add. But in reality, once you start to learn some of the brushes, they are so good. Like, there's so many good use cases for them. But at the start, you kind of think, oh, it's a bit overwhelming. I'll just try and find a brush that I know fits my needs, you know, rather than spend some time with the brushes, which is, it's a bit weird to say, but, you know, get to know them and how they work. It's a really stupid thing to say, but it's very true. Very true. Milo says, Joel, your art community is great. We love to support each other as well. Exactly. And guys, please be sure to try and share some more of your designs. You know, share as many as you can. Even if it's not one of my tutorials, you're welcome to share anything you want in my Discord. Doesn't have to be part of my tutorial sets. I love seeing other people's creations because I also keep an eye on the sort of creative community, such as like other artists, and it's interesting to see also how others sort of perceive all those different tutorials, things you found easy and complicated, and helps me understand sort of where I can go with it. Now at the minute, you see me using two colours. We've got, well, three. Base colour, this lighter tone, and the shadowy tone that I introduced. I'm actually going to revisit the both sets and add a gradient to each one. So I'm going to put all the colours in place, but then just add a bit of a gradient so the shadows tail off a bit more to the left and the highlights will tail off a bit more to the right. At the minute it's looking a little bit too bright, of course, over on the right hand side. So for a minute, bear with. And some much needed longer twists and scrapes into the tree, and we will brush over the top of some of these as well. Odd little one on it, but that side's fine. And again, this work now is really pointless, like in a way, especially up here. I'm going to just add like bright spots to some of these branches and just on a random sort of sprinkle, because if they show through, then it will look great. If they don't, it's just going to be wasted time otherwise. So if we do something like that for a minute. Trish says, I love that. I can be sensitive with criticism when learning new stuff. I'm already over critical of myself. Trish, I tell you what, if you hang out in these live streams, you watch a guy have a meltdown live on stream to the internet probably every other week. I think everybody would probably say every week, but I get to this stage. This is the part where you have to trust the process and you make your way from, which by the way, links to the hoodies, all the merch are in the description down below. But you got to trust the process and you got to get through what somebody said. And I think it might have even been Milo, maybe, I can't remember, but someone said you got to get through the ugly stage. And that is very, very true. You got to get through that ugly stage of the design before you can be happy with it. So, and it's very, very true. Very, very true. Okay, so I'm just going to go in now with a slightly darker tone and just blend out my, try to blend out some of my highlights. So yes, they're highlights, but as they roll round to the right hand side there, they look a little bit darker, basically. Certain areas I'll just give little patches of colour to and leave down here nice and bright, but let's maybe make them a little bit more grey. Let's try that. Oh, that's nice. A little bit more grey down this side. Oh, I love that. And we'll chuck that colour in the palette for later. Awesome. Let's add some grass before we add some leaves at the top. Says lol, that's a fun class. Rob's. I said it, give me credit. It was Rob's. It was Rob's. I apologise. I apologise. You get your credit. Oh, damn. Let's chuck some green in here, but like more underneath the tree. So I've got to try and get some more colours in here. Let's try and just get a slightly warmer tone in there. Grunge brush, because at the minute I'm obsessed with it. It's great for grass. It's just great for general texture. Like just patchiness, you know? There's little areas of patchiness that can take a little while to manually try and achieve. Let's get a bit bolder with a slightly more green colour. That's nice. and I want to leave a little bit of darkness towards the bottom, and then we go in with the snow gun. If you've done my tutorial recently with the mountains, you'll know that I'm a big fan of this brush. And you can use it for not only like leaves, you can use it as like grass if you keep it nice and thin. Just the specks and stuff in the ground is just enough for me that they just look like lots of individual pieces of detail, which I really, really like. Little something like that. Let's create some casted shadows first, which I think is a bit of a risk right now because we don't necessarily know where the light source is, but I know it's going to be on that left side, so I'm going to just move over, darken up into some of these gaps, get down towards the base of them and blend them out. That's cool. Let's add like a little looping shadow there, as if that one doesn't actually touch the ground. Blend into the background there, blend into there too. Lovely stuff. And let's just darken up the back area there, just a little bit. Oh, that looks lovely. The way that the grass just sits on top of the shadows looks really cool. What's up, Maggie? What does that mean? I do aren't draw. Yeah, guys, please be sure to drop a like down below. That would be awesome. I appreciate you. If you do, we're at 17 at the minute. Can we hit 50 by the end of the stream? That'd be awesome. Let's go ahead, and I want to try again another built-in brush to try and just see what use cases we have for it. If we go ahead and go to organic, and we go into, say, we've got wild grass, we've got sword grass. Yeah, let's use the sword grass and just see if that's just crazy big. Not a fan of that one. We'll leave it for let's leave it for a second. Oh, you're in Korea. Gotcha. Let's use the twig brush maybe and try and create some blades of grass. Let's actually move that above the tree, turn off the clipping mask, and try and create some little blades of grass so this is the twig brush under organic, if you're interested. Just little blades of grass maybe that we can just add in a few to just sit in front of the tree, you know? Just really make it, like, bake it into the ground. Bake it into the ground by putting a few blades of grass here and there. And we can put some more as well in here. So twig brush underneath organic for a moment. So I'll use that tone first of all, which was that one there. So I'm going to move that into shot. I'll know what it was. Again, this is how I draw all the time for like myself. It's just trying to, you know, remember all the little steps that I took to get to that final destination. Lots of little dashes in there maybe. We can add in some darker tones in a second. Joel, my name is Joel Meggy, just like the channel name. We could maybe add some flowers down here as well later on in the tutorial. Let's see how it goes, but we'll definitely be able to do something like that. And then just overlapping a few darker blades over the top of some of your brighter ones. We'll just nicely break them down a little bit. Put some more over here too. Ultimately, I think we'll just leave that like that for a second. We can add some wildflower down there in a sec. Okay, let's move on to the rocks before we move on to what I would argue is the sort of final step, which is going to be what is it? What am I even talking about? The leaves at the top. Painting, I am loving this Spectra brush at the minute. Spectra brush for the rocks is awesome. I can just go 1, 2, 3, and maybe a little bit on the back, and you create, it's a very smooth rock. It's not quite a jagged rock, but you end up with just like paneling essentially of the rock, and I think it looks great. When you zoom out, there's actually a good amount of texture in there. You know, we've got these little specks in there, so it's just enough. I think maybe we could make a variation of this where it does have an additional texture to it. Like, oh, should we have a little go at that? What if we duplicate the Spectra brush and we duplicate our favorite little stucco? I don't know if anyone's ever seen people do this before, but if we go ahead and we pinch the two together, you can combine brushes together. So if we pinch those two, how do you do it? You're meant to be able to pinch them. Or are they incompatible? How do you combine them? Yeah, you should be able to pinch. Oh my god. Troy says his name was Bob, but he had to change it. Trish says, I will try and join more lives. I was just about to give your Adventures with Cooper tutorial number 1 a try before I saw you live. I did the seaside one yesterday. Oh, awesome. Was that the one in the cave? It turned out really well. That's awesome. Awesome. Oh, got it. So you don't pinch, you tap on one and swipe from left to right on the other one and hit combine. Then we go into here, and now we need to see how these two work with each other. So I think we have to move the secondary one. We want to just roll through here and just see what variations we can make. Okay. Should we just, let's maybe go to a different rock. Let's do this one. Let's alpha lock this one, and let's see. I actually stopped the Adventures of Cooper series a little while ago, much to most people's frustrations. But yeah, I stopped that series a little while ago. It yeah, we talk about Cooper a lot. Oh, that looks awesome. That looks so cool. Look at the difference. You've got like a rugged version and a much smoother shape to it. That's interesting. Very, very cool. It doesn't have quite so much overlap, so I can like create there and there. Like it really, I don't know, it seems to now really pack it in, so you have to be quite delicate with the amount of color you actually splash on the screen. I think I could get in there for sure and break down some of the texture if I was to spend some more time understanding how those two have been combined together. But very, very cool. I like the smoother one. Should we just try and see if we can make some alterations? Color burn. It's annoying that you can't see it. I guess you would be able to see it normally if it... That's normal, which might not even be too bad. I can see a little bit of texture in there. Shall we grab the base color again and we'll start again on those ones. So if we do the same principle as we did before, not in that color though, probably a different color will look good. If we go ahead and go across there, I'm going to flatten the top, I'm going to go across there, I'm going to go across there. Now there's a little bit more texture in it, you could argue. Trish says, well, I'm looking forward to trying ones you've done. There's a bunch of your tutorials I'm looking forward to doing. I need some time in the day, honestly. Yeah, that is the problem, especially when you first start off. There's just so much content. Like, the Procreate space is such an awesome place as well, because it just has so many talented artists and tutors that are willing to create the content. So yeah, it's just so much, so much in the best way possible, you know. That's fine. I like that. Let's roll with this brush. Let's roll with this variation of the brush. So making sure that this top edge here is a little bit brighter. That then comes off of there, and maybe I can just, we'll leave it like that. We'll leave it like that. Troy says, your name was Bob and you did change it to Joel Cray. I apologize for doxing you. Did I tell you guys that I ended up having, all the boys ended up dressing up like Bob Ross on my stag do? I think I did. That's fine. Let's do that. Love that. Okay, that's come along quite well. It's come along quite well. We've got a lot more sort of colour and stuff and highlights that we could add in. But I want to get to now the sort of main cheese, which is going to be adding in the leaves and stuff around the top, which I have created 2 colours for. So the first thing to do is create this slightly darker version, which is going to be probably this colour here. So this top colour. Let's go to my new brush. So I put it in organic. What did I call it? Leaf gum. What's up, Kat? How's it going? Trish says, it's a lot to take in, but hopefully everything just works like a sponge up. So the thing that I would advise in the early days is try not to take on too many different styles. Or you kind of have to go one of 2 ways. You either have to go all in and try absolutely everything, but in the early days, just to get familiar with a set of brushes and stuff and a set of styles, I would argue potentially trying to narrow it down a little bit more, maybe a little bit easier in the early days, you know, trying to just focus down on, like, for example, James Julia creates fantastic landscape tutorials. You know, if that's going to be your vibe, I recommend, you know, just roll in with him for a while, see what you can come up with and what you like, and then from there you can see if you want to just stray into something else, like something, you know, a bit more texturized. So you could roll with like Tatty Works. Flow has lots and lots of tutorials and lots of different styles as well. So yeah, there's so much, so much. This is the same principle, by the way, that I keep doing every single time for you guys, is adding in a background base shape and color, and then adding color on top of that. So you add like the background variation of all of this, and then start to paint on the variations on top. So again, this is my variation of the snow gum, made to look like leaves a lot more than like a different type of leaf, a different species of leaf, I guess. Which I'm sure will make its way into a tutorial at some point. I like that. I like it. That's just as simple as I kind of think it needs to be. Do I add any more or less? Do I change the shape? Like, I could go a little bit bigger up here. I could go a little bit wider over here. That's nice. I did. Sorry, I'm catching up now. You said you showed a pic of them with the model. They want to try. Yeah, I've not got those pictures yet. Or the drawing, should I say. What's up, Michael? GM Bob says, I got tired of hearing step 1, step 2, step 3, and Bob's your uncle. Who says that? I say stuff like that all the time. I got absolutely bollocks on my second channel of just someone just being in like the worst mood possible, just like proper lashing out at me, being like, this is the biggest load of dribble, you know, this is what people should avoid, you know, people just talking like this in this manner and stuff, of where, you know, I very much am a person who likes to teach their designs based off of people that I know are going to be new to Procreate, you know. And this guy was just an absolute dick. Really just went for it and went for me unnecessarily. But, you know, some people have bad days, you know, and when you put yourself on the internet, sometimes you have to consider all this stuff. Somebody's gonna have a bad day and think that you are the one to take it out on, and that's fine. That's cool, man. That is cool. Let's go in here now with the same color and the same brush and just add in some additional leaves at the top. I think, to be honest with you, you can't win as a creator anyway. Like in that particular topic, you either get people say, well, you know, you went too fast here, you should slow down, or, you know, you're not considering the user. And then you've got other people that are more experienced, and if I say, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3, they're potentially just going to be frustrated with that. You know, it's like, in that example, I'm not saying you're calling out me by any means. I'm just saying, like, I think as a creator, sometimes you just got to do what you feel comfortable in your way of teaching, you know. Let me catch back up with you guys, because you guys are miles up there now. Hey guys, how many likes are we on? How many likes are we on? We hit... Oh, just close that tab, man. How many likes are we on, guys? How many likes are we on? Let me also catch back up with you guys. What you're talking about? Busy. I went all in and tried absolutely everything, Rob says. Kat says, peeps, how's everybody doing? I'm doing very well, Kat. Thank you so much for asking. I'm very good. How's the hockey? Is it still season? Milo says, in a rush today to be in the live stream today, Kat. A lot of work. Oh yeah, talking to Kat. Trish says, I tend to go down whichever mood I'm in, I guess. Sometimes it's landscape, sometimes it's just cute little excuse me, cute little critter things, but I'm not really good at drawing lol, so maybe landscapes is better. Landscapes, you do get a little bit more sort of freedom. You know, if you make a tree slightly quirky and off to the left, it's character. It's the way that the tree grew. You know, if you make a hill in a certain way, it's just the way that it is. There's obviously certain things you've got to consider, but you know, you can get away with a lot more with a little bit of landscape. Whereas if you drew faces, it's like, you know, it's a bit different. I appreciate it, Milo. You say you like the way I teach. I appreciate it. But Kat says, I don't like someone that doesn't explain what they're doing and just does something. There's a lady, and she's super talented. I think it's LJ. Oh God, I will forget the name, and I apologise. She is, I guess it's a she, sorry, is super talented, but all the tutorials are completely quiet. There's no instructions at all. It's just watch and try to replicate, which I find fascinating. I find it really fascinating that is a type of content that people really do like. Don't get me wrong, everybody's right, but do you know what I mean? It's like a really interesting way to understand how people like to learn, considering how different mine are, if that makes sense. Fun tree, like the look of it, looks cool. Let's add in some of the really nice background colours I added. So let's go, and what did I do? Yeah, I'll put that up there, We're gonna add in some really vibrant background colour, and then we're gonna add in a light source. Nice big bit of purple up there, and a nice big bit of yellow over here. We'll Gaussian blur them together. Now that's maybe... let's roll with it for a minute. Let's roll with it for a minute. In the initial one, it looked like this, which I can now bring back up to opacity. I made it look like this. So there's a lot there that's a lot different. Yeah, we've got a lot more of the harsher lighting to be adding in. But at the minute, we've got a really nice structure to this, really nice. So what did I do? Did I put a light source right at the top? I feel like I might have done this. Yeah, a little something like that that overlaps a few things, and then maybe set that to, like, surely not add. Oh, it would have been add. Okay, that's quite cool. That's quite cool. But thank you everybody for blessing me. I appreciate it. Cat says, I don't like anyone. I don't like someone who doesn't explain what they're doing. I appreciate that. Not everyone knows all the tips and tricks of Procreate. Exactly, you're absolutely right. I'm at the point, and let's be honest, at the end of the day, if you can't stand my teaching, you can just mute the video. Just mute the video. If you can follow along, you can just mute it, listen to your music. Do you know what I mean? Yes, blend mode to create lighter leaves. So I've only added the lighting on the left side where the brighter leaves are, and left the darker side on the right. Guys, drop a like on the video if you can. Milo's absolutely right. Rob says, can I just say that the tree is absolutely incredible? I appreciate it, Rob. I appreciate it. Kat says, hockey, I've been to the rink every day for the last 2 to 3 weeks. The boy made it on a travel team. More time for his practice and getting his new gear and stuff. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So is that like, I presume that means as in like you're traveling a lot further of a radius to like play different teams, I presume. Trish says, yeah, I need a step-by-step unless it's something I'm already familiar with. Yeah, for sure. Kat says 2 goals for the season for me. I'm winning. Where's the second goal? I saw the first one. Where's the second one? Rob says, I did a Photoshop tutorial yesterday and he didn't say a word. It was just music and text on the screen. It was actually fantastic because I really had to concentrate and had to do stuff on my own. Fair enough. Fair enough. MC says, I left for 10 minutes and the tree is done. Very quick and easy, my friend. We just added a little brush on there. For the moment. We've got a few more details there we're going to now do. Now we've got a light source up on the left. I want to do a lot more to these rocks potentially. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll clipping mask them and maybe try and get in there. I don't want to necessarily do the soft airbrush, but maybe that's the way to go. You know, just like brighten up some of the edges that are facing the light source. I'm kind of cool with that. I think I could, in the tutorial maybe, just like not bother. I could just like not clipping mask it, I could layer it instead. Let's go around all the rocks, just make sure we can give a little bit more light to all of them where they're facing the light source. Trish has joined the family on Patreon. Trish, thank you so much for joining the family. Guys, be sure to welcome Trish to the family. Enjoy the tutorials. Let me know if there's anything that you need and I'll be more than happy to help. Enjoy the content. We're up to 70 tutorials now over on Patreon. And again, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. Kat says, travel all over Florida to play against other teams. That's so cool. You must be very proud of your boy. Thank you, MC. Appreciate it. Joel, I'm going to need a... Camera's turned off, innit? Camera's turned off. It's probably a bit hot in here, to be fair. The heating's on, so it's probably overheated. Let's just hang out for a minute while we wait for the camera just to cool down for 10. It's my fault because I put the heater on. Shall I move this full cam from it? What an idiot. Joel, I'm going to need a credit to cover these expenses. Oh, yeah. If you cancel your Patreon, you'll be alright. Trish says, thanks, I didn't know that would pop up. You're welcome. No, thank you. I appreciate you. Lindsay says, fancy going live early. What's up, Lindsay? Now I'm off early as well. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, that's good timing, Red. Look at this trim, by the way. Woo! Damn. Look at that trim. That's fresh. That's about 6 hours old. No, less than that. 5 hours. Unbelievable. Guys, if you are interested, there's a link in the description down below to the Trust the Merch. Trust the Process merch. If you want to come and join the squad. If you don't have a hoodie, it's just not even really sure we're friends, you know. But yeah, the camera's gone off, so let's just chat for a bit. What's up, Red, as well? Thank you for popping in, guys. Please be sure to drop a like. We're on 21 likes. We hit 50 last week. Kat says, so far it's been only playing against 3 other teams at the same rink. In each season they shuffled the kids around, and now we'll be playing against teams and kids we've never seen. Awesome. Lindsay will be getting a pay cut. Now what you on about? I started early. I'm getting my hours in, and now I'm off. Thank you, Red. I appreciate the trim. Listen, if you're in South Africa, I guess we've got a bit of an excuse. There is international shipping. What it costs you, I can only apologise, but I don't control it. So, hopefully it's decent, but if it's not, I apologise. Lindsay says, I do have a hoodie and we're still not friends. What do you mean? Yeah, you're a special case, you are. God, I wish this camera would sort itself out. Michael says, how's the dogs? It's red hot in mine too. Dogs are good. Dogs are good. Although we had to take them to the vets the other day, and they were like, yeah, no, we're probably gonna have to like give them an operation so that they can. We need to do work on their teeth and stuff. And it's like the first sort of moment where the dogs are, you know, starting to show their, not showing their age, because Charlie's 6 and Daisy's 4, and it's like, but Charlie is like, well, I guess he's middle-aged potentially. You know, he's got to have an operation, be like put to sleep. You know, see if there's any, like, do x-rays on him, and after a good run his legs get stiff and stuff, and it's like, Jesus, man, this dog, he's awesome, but just hits you in the feels, doesn't it, for a little bit. Rob says, MC, we should see if we can get one together. Yeah, save on your shipping. Save on your shipping. Lindsay says, I'm offering to bring some hoodies to South Africa once I can afford the flight. Yeah, but you got to afford a flight back, that's the problem. Joel should just organise a get-together. We'll get it there. What, me fly to South Africa to deliver your hoodies? Then he says, Robs, I keep an eye on them flights, love. You see the camera wants to turn back on again now. It does seem bloody hot. We're back, but I don't know for how long. Who knows? We're back. Right, let's where were we? Yeah, we were over that side. That's fine. Let's try and add in some harsher shadows now on here before I inevitably get it go off again. Cool. That is going to be this side over here. I want to just darken up one side as if one side is really, really bright and the other one, and also like separation between some of the rocks like here. I want this one to cast a shadow across, you know, onto the one beside it. Then we'll move across to a rock over here where we're going to introduce a shadow in here, a little bit of separation, darken up one back edge of it. I'm using the soft airbrush, but arguably, to be honest, I wouldn't use that again. It's probably a little bit too soft. Let's go ahead and grab this one. Let's change the blend mode, I think, to overlay maybe, and let's see if we can punch out some green over there. Now that green is a little bit too... There we go, a little bit of something like this. Lovely stuff. A little bit of extra colour on there, that looks nice. And then what we'll do is we'll also try, let's try a technique. Let's try and duplicate this one. We will go to the bottom one out of the two. We will fill it with the lighter tone. I don't know how this is going to work. And if we budge it off to the left, what about the right? What if we reduce that down? No, not quite the look I was hoping for. Zoomed out, it just looks like 3D little smudges on there. See what that looks like? It looks a bit rubbish. Okay, we'll create a new layer. We'll select the shape of all of those highlights and we'll mask the layer above, so I can just add in some nice brighter tones in those spaces only. And we'll set the blend mode to add. And it'll do nothing because I'm on the mask. Go to, what do we want? What do we want? What about dry brush? That's fun. What I'm doing now is just adding in little bits of streaks of colour that is just the same flow as the highlights. That looks much nicer. And we can do something really nice here where if we create a separate layer and we just like set the blend mode to add. What brush did we use? It was bamboo, wasn't it? Organic. Bamboo. We could add in little patches on the branches that are like, you know, the light's coming through and just onto the branch and it's really bright. It's got to make sense though, Joel. So don't just keep chucking it in there. You know, like here, I can just add in a few brighter spots that we can just see through the gaps in the trees. Love that. Maybe a little bit on these branches over here. And then maybe we could actually duplicate that. Gaussian blur them just a smidge. Oh, so they glow a little bit. See the difference in that? So this is what it was like before I blur it, and then just a little bit of blur just makes it look like the sunlight is just breaking through onto the tree. That's really nice. Let's maybe just grab the entire layer. Oh, I'm absolutely cooking. There's no wonder the bloody camera turned off. I'm cooking as well. Milo says Charlie is lovely and Daisy is too. They're absolutely wonderful. Oh, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Good night, everyone. Time for me to go. MC, appreciate you hanging out, my friend. Good night, and hopefully see you again next week. Thank you, Tris. I'm glad you're enjoying the process. Always these little random things we just end up working out on a stream sometimes. We just like Bob Ross once said, it's like happy accidents and stuff, and that's what we constantly end up sort of walking into accidentally. So I'm going to duplicate this add layer. I'm going to Gaussian blur it just so it really glows on the tree to really show that lighting. And I think then what I need to do is maybe just add one more new add layer right at the top up here. Maybe we try it with the bamboo, and then every time there's like a leaf or two, maybe, I'm not sure the bamboo brush is going to be the one, but I can just add in lots and lots of tiny little dashes here and there where it's like leaves that are just a little bit brighter maybe. I'll tell you what, let's clear that. Let's do the trusty old dry ink. Not studio pen, dry ink. And we just sort of dashing around. Dashing around, create some little areas of highlight, lots and lots of dashes, and primarily focus them basically on like the brightest leaves that I can see. Okay, that's cool. That now ties it all in a bit more together. I'm looking at the camera and I don't think the colours are quite correct. I'd say they're a little bit whiter. I don't know what it's doing. Okay, let's carry on from there. And I think at the same time, if we're going to add in little brighter highlights here and there, we also need to maybe add in a little blade of grass here and there, just a few little blades of grass that just catch in the light. That'll just help break them out a little bit more. Lots and lots of little blades of grass, little one at the top of that one. That's cool. Add in a few more up here. Okay, that's cool. So now what I want to do is I want to select everything but the background gradient. So I'm going to turn off those layers and the background color and the sun at the very top. We're going to swipe down with 3 fingers and go to copy all, swipe down with 3 fingers and go to paste. We'll end up with another version of the tree, which we're going to move all the way to the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and bring in the background elements and the sun, of course, at the top. We're going to grab the tree, we're going to grab our cursor, we're going to flip it vertically, and we're going to move it underneath itself. Now the only problem I am going to run into is there's no reflections of the rocks just there, so I kind of have to like do this quite frustrating warp in the center, which is not actually accurate, which is kind of frustrating, but it's just the way it goes, I guess. I could reflect each rock individually, note to self. I could do that and that would save me. Oh god. Alright, let's do that. Forget it. Let's go ahead and turn off the backgrounds of those. Let's turn off the rocks for a moment. You've got to do it right sometimes. Turn off the sun at the top. We'll go down to here. We'll select everything, copy all, we'll select everything and go paste. It was an earlier stream because I will be getting off earlier today. So let's turn that off for a minute. Let's then go ahead and isolate first rock, which is over there. Swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Probably gonna have to move it all the way down as well, aren't I? Not necessarily. We'll flip it vertically, move it under itself, put it there. Yeah, I got plans. We'll buy it. On earlier, hopping off. What are you gonna do about it? You are my plans normally. Listen, I'm on already, like, do you know what I mean? Show some respect. No, not early night. Alright, do you want the truth? Do you want the truth? Do you want the truth? The footy's on, alright? I've missed 10 minutes of it already because of you lot. You lot make me miss so much footy, it's a joke. So, I'm getting off because I want to watch the football. Write a letter to HR and tell them you're unhappy. Just be grateful, like. Yeah, the Madrid match. If anyone tells me any scoreline, I'll ban you. I'll ban you immediately. Forever. Not 5 minutes, forever. Take the risk. I don't care if it's not even the right score. Take the risk. See where it gets you. Because I tell you what, if you like my tutorials, you'll never see them again. I promise you that. I will be. It won't just be like a live stream ban. It will be a ban. You'll be gone. never to be seen again. Get wrecked. Put user in timeout. That'll do for a second. Oh, hide this user on channel. There we go. You get what you get. You get wrecked. I'm not fucking about. Everybody wave in the chat. Everybody says cheerio. Listen, run the risk, guys. Run the risk. Oh, I missed one of the Right, let's move this down. Let's put this in position so we would see the rocks, but we wouldn't necessarily see. I'm trying to just line this up now. I've kind of lost the alignment a little bit. So to there, maybe. We wouldn't see the base of it. We'd definitely see that. That's fine. I'm thinking either like a motion blur of like horizontal, but that doesn't always look the best. A nice vertical motion blur looks beautiful, always. We'll move this down a little bit. We'll then also go ahead and maybe just lower the opacity of it for a second. We'll grab the rocks. We'll go to motion blur. We'll turn off the alpha lock. We'll motion blur. See, that one's barely in the frame. Where is that? What? How is that a rock? Oh, it's there. And then the one underneath is... It is there, but it's very, very minimal. But it's got to be done. Let's grab the next one. Motion blur. It's alpha locked, Joel. Turn off the alpha lock. Oh yeah, new T word. Oh, I totally forgot. Congratulations. I think it was. No, I don't think it was. I know it was. It was Milo's design. Milo got the T word emoji. So everybody give Milo a round of applause, and to everybody else as well who entered as well. So Milo, you are. Yeah, I could put the rocks on the same layer, and to be honest with you, it just is what it is, isn't it? Akin has been a member now for 6 months. Thank you, Akin. I don't know how many of them were gifted by Troy, but I imagine a fair few of them were. Guys, can we get any more likes on the stream? We're up to 23. We got up to 50 last week. Yes, so if you are a member, you can use the colon, T word, colon, and yeah. I appreciate you, Akin, being a member. I appreciate you a lot. Okay, let's go ahead and mask this out. I want to mask out the bottom of the page. Just want that to sort of just drift out. Let's create a new layer at the top. There's a little bit of sharp line there that needs to be gotten rid of. That's lovely. Let's go right to the top. Let's create a new layer. So now we're doing the water. So I think I'm going to need a really light colour. Let's grab this one. Now this won't take this long next time, and obviously my camera won't turn off midway through. Oh, you're welcome, Milo. It's awesome. Very, very bang on what is needed. Okay, so this is now going to help the water look like it runs up, and I'm even going to overlap some of the rock as well. Just show that the water makes its way right up against some of these rocks, and you then get the impression now that it is water with this beautiful little bit of just white edge. Lovely stuff. That's going to help a lot. Convince everybody looking at this that it is water. I'm going to introduce some more in here as well. Just little dashes here and there. Just that the water's really calm though. It's not too crazy. A few more out there will look really nice. A couple more in here as well. Couple more closer to the camera. I always imagine it's a camera. Somebody's taken a photograph of this. And if we then go ahead and go to adjustments, we go to motion blur and we blur them out horizontally, we get this really sort of milky look to them, which looks beautiful. Guys, yeah, please be sure to like the video. We're up to 27. 27. What camera do you use for that view? For this view? This is my brand new camera, which was actually wonderfully funded by the community with unbelievable donations, which is still a bit mind-blowing that even happened. But it is this one is my Sony ZV-E10 with the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and that's pointing at me. It's just an iPhone XR. It's my work phone. That's where you lot all live. You guys literally live on that phone. With all with Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the whole lot, because I can't have it on my normal phone anymore. Like it got to the point where it's just too much, you know. It was it's really distracting when you're trying to just relax on a weekend and stuff, and you know, you're replying to comments and you realize you're like in a shop and you get a notification and you're like, ugh. You realize you're replying to a comment and it's like, dude, just enjoy your weekend, man. You got to disconnect. You got to stay. If I'm not like fully charged and disconnect and stuff, then it's like impossible for me to make good content, you know. The other thing that's missing, because that lighting's coming across, technically we should maybe have like a big shadow here. So if I turn off everything, turn all this off. Let's also turn off the top layers and the sun. Let's copy all. Let's bring everything back in. Pow, 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 pow. Joel, can we use Procreate for 3D model texturing? Absolutely, you can. As long as you use an OBJ file, or there's another one as well. I can't remember the name of it. But yes, you can. You can use it to paint on top. I remember when I said this to you guys on stream. I remember saying it, and I remember thinking that I might get roasted for it or something like that. But it came to be true. That the 3D fad that was about to happen with Procreate came and went very, very quickly. Very quickly. I knew there wouldn't be much substance in it, especially with the fact that all you're doing is just painting. That's all you're doing. Like, if that's what you need it for, 100%. But for a normal person to then download a 3D model and stuff, it just was never going to be it. It was never going to be something that a lot of people did. I remember seeing Tati did a tutorial with the Converse. Great example of how that can be done. Great example. But the rest of it is just like, unless you're like a professional game developer or something and you prefer your iPad to work on and stuff, it was never going to work. I don't know if they feel like it was a success or not. I imagine for them, for the developers, it it is a success because that shadow looks shit. I imagine for them it is a success because it just opens up the possibilities of what Procreate can be used for. But ultimately, for a normal person, it doesn't fit, I don't think. Yeah, I think a lot of us here were here for that conversation. Definitely came and went. Okay, I actually really like it. I like the colour that goes all the way around the outside. We've got this like yellow around the left side, the purpley colour around or pinky purple around that side, and then we leave a little bit of blue in the centre. And I like the way that, again, I kind of said it in the intro, you don't really know where this piece of land or the lake starts and ends. And I really like that. Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. What would I change? What would I do? Guys, we're nearly at 30 likes. Come on, we can do it. Kat says, it was cool to play with them, the 3D models we're talking about, but when I would want to use it, for, I can't find the model unless I pay for it. That's true. And that's the other thing is, like, you know, I was thinking, like, I got to the point where I was learning how to 3D model, like create 3D models on the iPad using like Blender and stuff. And oh god, I can see a Nomad Sculpt, I think it was, or something like that. And it was like, I knew it was going to be somewhat pointless because the amount of work that would go in for a Procreate tutorial would be insane. Like, to create 3D model for a tutorial and then, you know, have someone just colour it in. It also just felt a bit naff. You know, it felt a bit naff. But yeah, it's cool that Procreate can do it for sure. It's definitely cool that Procreate did it. I tell you someone who absolutely thrived over when that era started with Procreate. His name on Instagram is Drug-Free Dave. Please go and check out Drug-Free Dave. He's one, seems like a really nice guy from the conversations I've had with him. But two, he then started to do 3D sculptures and stuff. And he used to draw a lot with Procreate, drawing like cartoony, sort of quite, when I say cartoony, I mean kind of like Pixar-y kind of designs. And he moved over into Blender and was creating 3D designs. And I saw some of his work the other day in my feed. This man is so talented. Like, they look sick. And the way he uses lighting and stuff, it's really soft. Like, please go and check out Drug-Free Dave on Instagram and everywhere he is. Like, sick at 3D work. I don't know what tutorials he may do if that is something you're interested in, but they are more like, not bring a 3D model into Procreate. It's like, I'm going to go draw over there. I'm going to create something over there and that's it. Yeah, see, like something like that. So Kat made a good point there. Like, if you were to create like a jersey, like a generic football shirt, and, you know, probably put it out there for free, I guess, because otherwise no one would use it. You could really try and, you know, you could run competitions and stuff. Like, design our next kit. Let's, yeah, something like that. Milo, I was using 3D software it was allowing me to go from start to finish completely on the iPad. I don't know what it was. I don't think it was Blender, but there was something that would allow me to go through the whole journey from start to finish. I'll try and find it in case anyone's interested. Oh, should we do the old standard? Oh, also, we can potentially do something like where what would they look like if I pinch them in together? Do they change colour? No. See, what we can also do is we could change this now from like green to green, or more of an autumnal colour into a more pinky tone. Like, if you go to green right now, that looks okay. It's pretty mad saturated. You could probably drop the saturation down. It just looks a bit boring now, doesn't it? I think the red looked really fun. Dave Reed on YouTube, that's the one. his Instagram was what I said earlier. But yeah, green looks a bit boring, doesn't it? Especially if you drop the saturation down even more than that. Maybe even drop the brightness down just a smidge. Yeah, it's just very boring. But that change in colour can just really make it stand out. Like that's a bit more of a more natural variation. Maybe a little bit more muted. When you crank it up to where I had it, it's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Maybe I've gone too far. But no, I like it. Just says that as well, I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was Rob's. See, that's where we were. You could like go a little bit more pink, go blue. Isn't it a shame that you can't get like a tree that's really blue like that? Like a full tree that's just completely blue. Green, and then we can move into like really autumnal tones. I love that orange. That orange looks sick. If you increase that and then darken it down, that's really, really quite nice. Where did we go? It was green, wasn't it? We dropped the saturation down. Oh, I know what we forgot to do. I forgot to undo merge layers. I said I was going to maybe add in some little areas of flower, I think it was. Again, I've made another variation on the snow gum, which is a tulip brush. Now, you're not going to be able to see how it fully works in this, but you'll see it in a future tutorial of how useful it is. Why is it rotating not based on my movement? It's based off of... Yeah, so just do it how I want it, please. For the minute, let's... Why is this not rotating to canvas? Where is it? Orient to screen. Yes. Yeah, so follow the stroke then. Let me do it. Okay, let's just change that to that for a second. Oh, is it because it thinks it wants to do it the other way around? Do you know what? For a minute, that's fine. Let's go back into that setting though and change that back. It was rotation up to follow stroke. The blue one is awesome, very cool. Rob says, but you know I like a bit of red. White flowers, we could do white flowers. Akin says, Joel, do you working with ABR brushes? Do you mean airbrushes, or do you mean I don't know who's playing? Wait, what do you mean who's playing? Guys, can we get up to 50 likes? We're very nearly there. Saying that, we're at 28. Guys, come on, sort it out. It's unacceptable. Oh, Adobe Photoshop brushes. No, I don't use any at the minute. I don't really particularly use any brushes that are not built into Procreate unless I build them myself, and even then they're variations on the brushes that are built in. I don't really like any more. I tell you what's changed my mindset even more, and this is more just a creator kind of mindset about it. The other day, the website went down where I used to get all the brushes from. But what's really annoying is when that goes down, people can't complete my tutorials, and the problem with that is then I felt like I was completely and utterly sort of stranded and held ransom in a way, but without being held ransom, of course, by the fact that the brushes were not mine and they were placed in a location that I'm not in control of. It's why you will also notice, and it's not based on any other feedback, that my tutorials now are not going to feature from like a few tutorials ago and a few Patreon ones to come. They're not going to have any music in the background anymore. The website changed how they deal with licensing, so future videos now constantly seem to get flagged with the issue of the oh well, this is someone else's content, and again, I don't want to be held ransom. The problem is, if that website then turn around now and say, nah, do you know what, anyone who uses our music from now on, or even did use our music, we want their ad revenue, etc. There's about 120 odd tutorials that I'd be screwed. Like, they'd be like, I can't take the music out of the video. I could maybe re-download them and try and do something, but I'm a little bit screwed, you know what I mean? What's up, DW1K? Thank you for subscribing to the channel, my friend. So yeah, I don't really like. I'm trying to just protect myself, if that makes sense. I'm trying to protect my content a bit more, and make sure that I'm in control of all of that stuff. So everything in the tutorials are basically mine now. So Akin says, can you draw stylized drawings one day? I don't know what that is, my friend. Oh, stylized character? No, I don't draw people, my friend. I do not draw any people, characters, faces, anything like that. Modek, how you doing? Lauren's 15 minutes behind. What are you doing? What are you saying well done to then? If you're 15 minutes behind. Oh, you were asking. See, okay, that makes more sense now. Lindsay says, it does, Joel. You've worked too hard for people to be making claims for stuff. Yeah, to be honest with you, a lot of it can be sorted, and that's fine. But it's like, it made me realise, like, I don't want to be dealing with that. I don't want that jeopardy over content. So, especially when you've like spent all the time, like, to be honest with you, I'd probably just rip the tutorials down and put them in a Google Drive folder and say, crack on, you can have them as they are. I'm not going to mute them. I'm not going to do anything else to them, kind of thing. Or take them off YouTube and put them somewhere else. So yeah, at the minute, things are now just working where they don't have content on them. I love your content and tracking, Joel. Is that tracking? I appreciate it, Milo. Thank you so much. Guys, we're over 30 likes. Awesome. What do we think? Flowers or without flowers? I think without flowers. I think they add too much. This is just simple, to the point. I know that Lindsay's probably going to whack a massive fleur here on the left-hand side at some point, and I normally would do, but I think I'm going to just not add that in on this occasion. I like the transition from the rocks to the grass. I like that. It nicely frames this like island. It's very cool. I like it. I think we'll just whack this on YouTube next week, I reckon. Not this. I'll obviously do it properly. But I like it. I like where we went with it. Again, I wanted to create something that's isolated. I'd love to show you. I tell you what, if you're a patron, you may be able to kind of gauge what I've been drawing recently. And it's in the Patreon only chat, I think. And I was talking about variations on how many times I drew one design. So you can check that out. But like, it's probably my favorite tutorial and piece of work that I've ever created. So now I'm trying to then just reel it back in a little bit and be like, okay, let's create some stuff that is not like a full scene and a full world. Let's just see what we can do that as an isolated kind of environment and an isolated kind of subject. I don't know French Modek, I'm afraid. Milo says, I need to do the cottage window. I was waiting for the tutorial. Yeah, that's been a while, hasn't it? Since this is the problem, because I'm so far ahead now. You guys are seeing stuff that I'm drawing, excuse me, in live streams, but they're not coming up for like months. Like some of the work that I've got scheduled is for August. But that's not YouTube. YouTube is constantly like almost like a weekly basis, like week to week. But Patreon's so far ahead. Lindsay says, I am Joe, I'm going to play with that contrast too. Might even swap the blend mode. What you mucking around with the contrast for, you know? I graphed for this and to balance this out, and you go and just make changes for making changes, you know what I mean? What you like? Rob says, I love the cottage window one too. I appreciate it. And Trish says, Patreon only chat. Is that on Discord or Patreon itself? So Trish, I don't have a community tab on Patreon. It's really annoying because it was a feature. They took it away. Only legacy people that have been on there for a long time have the community tab. So all of my community is over on Discord. So if you join Discord and link your Patreon, it's really easy to do. You can do it in your account settings. You will be able to get you'll get a different coloured label in the chat to show that you are a patron, and you'll have access to different threads. I want to utilise the Patreon content a little bit more and have patrons, you know, communicating a bit more in those channels, because a lot of the time we go through the 3 main channels, which are general, share designs and random stuff. And I want to try and just engage patrons a little bit more by maybe me sharing a little bit more over on Discord rather than on Patreon, just sharing a bit more in there and being, you know, I'm always there, but it's just a matter of like, trying to just make sure that patrons are getting a bit more engaged. It's hard. I appreciate people, you know, sometimes don't like that social space to be talking and sharing and getting, you know, essentially talking to strangers through the medium of moi. But yeah. Yuri says, did you draw your tattoos yourself? I did not. How do you know I've got tattoos? Can't really see them. No, I didn't draw any of my tattoos myself. Trish says, gotcha, I joined. I will need to figure out how to link my Patreon. Super easy to do. Yuri says, my friend actually recommended this awesome channel to me. Do you know Joe? He said he knows you personally. I don't know anyone called Joe. I literally don't know I don't think I know a single person called Joe. I think he's having you on, mate. I think he's having you on. Joe Mama, I can't believe I got done by a Joe Mama joke. You're a little shit. Hey, well, fair play. Jesus Christ. And on that note, guys, we were going to wrap the stream up. I was genuinely going to do it anyway. This is not Yuri's fault. Piece of fucking... Anyway. I'm going to ban you. I'm going to ban you right now. Hey, but you gave me a clip, though. I can clip that and put it on the old socials for a couple of cheeky views, I reckon. Bastard. I'm not supporting anyone, to be honest. See, I want Madrid to win for the fact that I just don't want City to win, but at the same time, I saw a TikTok today talking about it, and I was like, do you know what, actually? City winning it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It's just I'm a United fan, so it's kind of like, where does it sit? Anyway, I've got to go. We're going to wrap it up anyway. Finish the design for today. Awesome work. Keep an eye out, as always, Friday. New tutorial. Get it done. This might be the week after as well. New Patreon tutorial came out on Tuesday. We've got belters coming out next month. If you want to come and support me over on Patreon, link in the description down below. Get all of these tutorials. There's 70 now. You get access to 70 tutorials. At some point, I'm going to have to put some sort of restriction in place where, like, if people join, they only get access, like, at different tiers to the last 5, the last 50, and then the last 100 or something like that. That way, there's a bit more incentive for you to move up, you know, up the tiers potentially. But that's something for a future plan, maybe. New tutorial out on Friday. Tutorial 1 came out. Last tutorial of the month came out on Patreon. Comes out on Patreon on Tuesday. You may have seen it on a previous live stream, so you're probably ahead of the game a little bit. If you're not already part of my Discord, Milo has just shared a link in the chat. Have a wonderful creative weekend. And I'll see you again next week. I always do this. I always like try and just give it a little bit of jeopardy. Like, oh, what am I up to? Maybe I'm busy. There's no footy on next week, so it'll be all right. I love you all very much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate that it's been a bit early, but we can all hang out and chill. And I'll see you again next week. Peace and love, baby.